co-writer of SIRÂT, Oliver Laxe. Oliver, congratulations on just an incredible, incredible film. First of all, let's just start off with this. There are so many incredible films that are set in the desert, and this is not the first film that you have made that takes place in the desert. And so I want to start the conversation by simply asking you about what the desert means to you, your relationship with the desert in your life, and what draws you to the desert in terms of telling stories.
So I was living in. Hello. I was living in Morocco for almost 12 years. I'm from the north of Spain, so it's a neighbor, and we have strong relations with Morocco. So I was living first in Tangier, but after I moved to a palm grove that's kind of the door of the desert. I was making a film called Mimosas, and I was more interested in the mountain. You know, the desert was a little bit touristic.
Yeah.
I was going less, you know, but I did my trips too. You know, at the desert you have to suffer it. You know, that's the point. You know, and it gives you taking from you in a way. You know, it's different. The mountain in Morocco, I think there is a similar landscape here in Colorado. You know, you see the creation of the planet, and you feel how small you are. You know, how you feel you are nothing. So it's really existentialist, the mountain. The desert is more metaphysical. Mm-hmm. It's more, you are obliged to look inside. There is nothing. There is no place for distraction. There are no rocks, nothing, no trees. So you look inside. And at the same time, I think that your being is really concentrated, because if you make mistakes, you can die, you know? So you are really connected.
Because one of the things I think is so powerful about SIRÂT is you have talked in interviews about being a spiritual person, being a religious person, and whether it's the question of being in the desert and the sort of elemental sort of feeling of survival that happens in your film, or even the techno music, which to me has such a kind of a spiritual transcendent quality to it. So much of the film feels like getting down to the very kind of roots about what it means to be alive, what it means to live a life, and what it means for a life to.
It was part of the intention. When I arrived to Morocco, I was 23 years old, really young and really mature, and I was living with people who were surrounded by death, and I was feeling a lot of acceptation and attachment on them. You know, they were really connected to death. I don't know if I'm a spiritual person, because a spiritual person doesn't speak about the spirituality as I do, you know. But I knew that I needed to die before dying. You know, I mean, that is something that is in all the cultures. You know, we in most of cultures we had ceremonies, we had rites of passage to die. That is something really healthy to do. It's necessary to do, you know. So that film belongs to this practice, you know, that I want to do, and I wanted to invite the spectator to die. We die making the film. I think did you die watching it? Yes or no? That's good. Good medicine. It's bitter. Medicine is bitter always. Look inside, it's painful sometimes. But the film obliges you, right, to look inside, and that's what we wanted. And
because I'm interested in terms of casting, because other than Sergio Lopez, who plays the father in the film, who's fantastic, you're working almost exclusively with non-professional actors. These are people, if I understand correctly, that you met at different raves. Did you write the characters based on these people that you met? Or how did that process work of finding these different people, then casting them, and then figuring out who those characters were?
So, for example, Biggie is a friend of mine since a long time ago. I met him raving. So he's on the first version of the script. I was writing like 12 years this script. And so I always were writing with people that I knew. We did a casting, and so we complete the family of 5 ravers. And after doing several workshops, when we decided about this, who will be the 5, they came to my home. We were there like 2 months. I live in the countryside in north of Spain, so we were going to the forest, watching films, making rehearsals. Sergio Lopez, the actor, came too. And so yes, it's about time, you know. I take time to make my films. We were looking for fragility. That's what that's what I admire about ravers, you know. They show their wounds, they show their scars. They don't hide them like we do in society in general. In society, we are creating like an idealistic image of ourselves. You know, we need to create this image. In general, we are broken, all of us. You know, I mean, but we hide it. They show it. They know it, and I think it's mature. So yes, so the film is about the wound, you know, our wound, the transgenerational wound, the pain that is on the planet today. You know, I think the film is, we were connected with this pain, you know, all what is happening on the world nowadays.
Because another thing that's really so evocative in the movie is that we hear these radio reports about something terrible that is going on in the planet, but also somewhere nearby. And it's left vague in this really kind of terrific way. And I'm wondering, like you said, that you all were sort of feeling, as you put it, sort of this pain of the world. Was that always there in the script, this idea that some sort of like potential world war or something, some sort of violent conflict is going on in the background of Sirât? Was that always there?
Yes. I belong to this generation that since we are a child, we know that this world is not sustainable. And we felt it on the gods, you know. It's not something intellectual, you know. We feel this, you know. Like, you know, when animals, they feel that tsunami will come, you know, and so we have like this kind of feeling, I think, and I'm sure I share this with a lot of you. But as one of the characters says in the film, it's been a long time since it's the end of the world, you know. So in a way, everybody can interpret this on his way. There are people, for example, when they switch off the radio, there are people who think that they are afraid, so they want to distract themselves. Yeah. And I understand. I understand that people need to distract of this pain because it's so much the amount of pain today, everywhere. And other people interpret that they switch off they turn off the radio because they already listen to this music so much time, you know. It's like the same thing, you know. Okay, so they are just waiting that this war, you know, this ancient regime just falls, you know. I like both interpretations. Probably there are more, but we are on a moment of change, shift of eras, you know. And it's like like a fade in cinema, you know, two images, you know.
Yeah.
So sometimes the image of the past is more on the present than the present, you know. And I think we are just in the middle of this fade. Can I say fade?
Yeah, yeah.
So we just have to wait.
Well,
The more we shut off the radio, more healthy it is.
I mean, that's one of the questions I was going to ask, because I find that line of dialogue so incredibly powerful. This idea of not only the fact that someone says that about, well, the end of the world's been going on for a while. I think also, and I think I love that it's open to interpretation in the film, but I think it's also how the characters in the film, and I think also us as viewers think about that. Do we think that we are living at the end of the world? And if so, how do we reconcile that?
How do we?
This idea of how do we, if we know that we feel like we're living in the end of the world, like one of the characters in your film says in that moment, if you think that you're living at the end of the world, what do you do with that information? If you sort of accepted that for yourself, how do you? I mean, I think it's.
When we were in COVID, I had a lot of interviews, and it was just before my previous film was, and I was telling them I was living the most happiest time in my life, you know. And few journalists they were thinking that I was not solidary
Or serious, yeah.
No, I didn't have empathy with the pain.
Gotcha, right.
But
Solidarity,
yeah, but it's the opposite, you know. I mean, if we want to serve, today there is an amount of fear. It's too much, the fear.
Yeah.
This is the origin, the essence of the problem, the fear. And so it's good to celebrate. It's good to dance. It's good to decrease this amount of fears, you know. Yes, I think. At the same time, you know, I'm really interested in the tradition. I'm a man of tradition. I'm really orthodox, you know. But obviously, I'm a human being of this time at the same time. And so the concept of the end doesn't exist. The end of the world, the end of your life, that doesn't exist. I mean, the problem is not to die, you know. Why do we die? We die when we have to die. The problem is how do we die? Or not the problem, the question. And I think my characters, they die with dignity, all of them.
When you were sort of rehearsing and working with your cast, are those conversations that you're having with them? When we're talking about right now,
we were talking about death all the time. I asked them so experiences near death, and there is a sentence in Sufism. It's when God loves you, He breaks you. You know,
Yeah.
and it's in every tradition, I suppose. You know, and so these people who are living without filters with life and death, you know, they receive more teachings. They are more prepared, you know.
Yeah.
So they, in a way, life obliges them to have a kind of wisdom, you know, or detachment, acceptation, and it was really beautiful to work with them, you know. They are prepared. They are prepared for these times.
I'm curious, for you making the movie, did it shift your own feeling about these things?
I have less fear to die, I think. For me, it was a good therapy. It's shock therapy for you. I'm sorry. For me, it was more slow. You know, 12 years of crying in dance floors, dancing, connecting with my wound. You know, celebrating my wound, my fragility. Yes, but I have less fears. Yes, I think.
Because I also think one of the things that the movie, you've talked a little bit about.
This film is really risky.
Well,
I mean, only someone who is or really crazy, or doesn't have any fears can make a film. I mean, it's, you know, you are in contact with the cinema worldwide,
Yeah.
you know, contemporary cinema. This is a film from the 70s.
Well, I
You
understand.
know, I mean, or no,
I mean, I think especially because it was shown in 35 millimeter tonight. This was shot on
16.
it was shot on 16, but it's presented in 35, and like it feels, it has like that soul of a much older film. It doesn't feel like a contemporary film. I feel like it's almost like this like ancient quality to it. I want to ask you about the risky thing though, really fast. You said that this was a risky film. Did you feel like it was risky at the time?
I had a lot of fears
Yeah.
making it. A lot. I had fears to be misunderstood. My intention was to take care of the spectators, but the film we wanted, the experience that we were pushing to the spectator is really, I understand, it's violent, you know, and it was easy to, I was being misunderstood by distributors, sales agent. It was not easy to finance the film, you know? And at some point, I mean, you survey your intentions, you think, okay, I have good intentions, I want to take care of the people, but at some point you have doubts. Because reality is telling you another thing. So I'm well surrounded. I have amazing producers. My team is amazing. People with which I write, my DOP, my assistants. I mean, people really talented, and they were helping me to don't be. What can I say? To stay with the fears, to don't be castrated by the fears, you know. Because art is this, is going through a way that you don't know, secretly you know where you are going. You give yourself to your intuition, but it's normal to have fears. And that's the thing, is to really jump to abyss. I mean, is to not be constrained by the fear, you know.
Yeah, I mean, so many
To
different.
don't calculate much, you know.
Yeah.
I mean, and if it's a film that reminds the 70s, it's because, again, I'm sorry, but this film has
Yeah.
no, it's
Well, you know, so many different artists and so many different backgrounds talk about this idea of following the fear. That's the thing that leads them to the great revelations and really kind of unearthing something. And you can't be afraid of it. You have to kind of chase after it and know whatever it is that's scaring you as an artist, that's the interesting thing.
you have to cross the minefield.
Yeah. I want to ask about.
And you have, you need to have faith in a way,
Yeah.
you know. The thing also is that because my creative process belongs to a kind of personal process of self-discoverment or whatever, the concept of failure doesn't exist when you are making, when you try to grow.
Yeah.
It's the opposite. Crisis is the tool that life has in order to connect with your essence. What that's happening in the film. Crises are great. So at some point, that's why I'm a little bit more courageous, because even if I fail, even the film nobody will watch it, it will be, that's what life will want from me. So it will be great.
I'm curious because you've made several films now. Is this something that you have developed over time? This feeling of the failure is just not really a thing, that I'm going to make the film and there's going to be doubt, but I'm just going to believe. Has that gotten easier for you, film after film, or is it always that challenge when you're starting?
I'm having more and more faith.
Yeah.
Which now, for example, I feel a lot of confidence for the next one. I will bet down.
Yeah.
Do you say bet down?
Yeah.
I think we have a good opportunity to go even further. We are having a lot of information about the relation between the body and the images, you know, how the relations between therapy. I'm studying psychotherapy, Gestalt, so therapy and cinema, you know, and yes, I mean, I already feel my body. You know, I'm not going to. I don't go to office to work, you know.
Yeah.
Like a lot of filmmakers, you know, that they. Okay, so I will, you know, I experiment my films. I die making my films, and I already feel me and my scriptwriter, Santiago Fillol, from Argentina, we feel that our body is already telling us. We are already feeling our body being attracted by the next film.
Yeah.
And it in a way it's intense, and it scares you, you know, but it's tasty.
Yeah.
It's like, okay, let's die again. Let's die again. It's you surrender to this, you know.
Yeah.
But at the same time, we'll see, because it's really, I mean, yeah, it's really this kind of filmmaking. It's radical and dangerous. Last previous film we were shooting in fires, in flames, in real fires, in fire will come. I mean, we're junkies of images.
Yeah.
You know, when there is an image that penetrates us, we can do whatever. You know.
The impression I got from you from previous interviews, because this film premiered at Cannes or won the Jury Prize there, and you, in an interview, talked about that you, I'm sort of paraphrasing it, that you think more in terms of images than traditional sort of narrative. Is that fair to say in terms of
It's a balance. It's a balance. Art is a balance between the volunteer of saying something and the volunteer of evoking something.
Yeah.
So it's about light and shadows, you know. And this is the problem nowadays. There are no more shadows. And the ontology of cinema are images, sounds, feelings, experiences. You know, I truly and radically believe on this place, this temple, a theater. What is happening here it's really complex, it's really mysterious. How films can penetrate us, you know. I'm hearing a lot of last weeks, people say, you know, your film is in me. I feel your images in my skin, or people who are in Cannes.
Yeah.
I don't forget your film, you know, the film is in me. And I take this as a compliment. But come on, this is cinema. It has to be like this.
Yeah.
You know, and we had these experiences. I mean, this is a place for catharsis, for transformation, and there are films. How many experiences we had of after being here to leave the cinema and to feel the images in the skin, in the body, you know? Wow. But this is the ontology of cinema. This is the essence of it, you know? And today we have so much influences of series, television, you know, that we have films that there is not one image, not one.
Yeah.
You know? Why? Because we put too much weight into images, you know? We instrumentalize images to say something.
Yeah.
And when you want to say too much things, you don't say nothing. You don't evoke, you kill images. Images are dead. And so it's, why do I don't, some orthodox script writers, they ask me, why do I don't develop my characters more, you know? And it's like if the images our images, like, they are wild and alive. They have a lot of layers, you know, symbolism, universal archetype, sensoriality. They tell a lot of things.
Well, I think it's one of the things that you kind of making a risky film. You have a father who don't learn a lot about his backstory, who don't learn a lot about the backstories of the characters. You introduce a plot where he's trying to find his daughter. That goes away in the second half of the movie. Like you're violating all these rules of narrative and taking these risks, because it's almost like the movie becomes more of an emotional experience that way, as opposed to being
probably breaking the rules of classical dramaturgia,
Right.
but I'm not breaking the laws of life.
Yeah.
Life is like this.
Yeah.
You start the day you are on a comedy and suddenly you're on a tragedy, or you are depressed and you fall in love. You fall in love. Life doesn't call you, hey man, next week you will have a test. No, it's like this. It's like this, and we have to be prepared for it. You know, every second things can change. You know, so the film is an adaptation. I think it's a representation of how are the rules of life, you know, from my point of view, obviously. And yes, I forgot what I wanted to say.
Well,
And at the same time, a lot of spectators are telling me good interpretation of the film. They feel, for example, they feel that the father, thanks to what is happening on the film, the father meets the daughter on a subtle way, on a spiritual way. When he's dancing, when they are making catharsis, the father is dancing his daughter. He's being her.
Yeah.
It's just that he's on a subtle way, you know, but he's understanding things, feeling things, healing things through dance. It's and that scene was it's very powerful because I'm totally sure that the actors, when they were playing that scene, they were not only playing, they were also connecting with their wounds, with the wounds of themselves and the wound of their lineage. So when this scene is really inhabited, it's really charged by this, you know.
yeah, that scene specifically, do you give your actors much direction in that moment when the music's playing and they're just in the desert dancing? Do you give them ideas of what to think about in terms of dancing, or do you just let them feel the music?
We were making rehearsal of that scene, and you know, the body. Dance like a cinema. A dance floor is a ritualistic place. Your body, when you dance, connects. Your body is giving you information about you. It's not just that you relieve. It's not just that you trust. You move your energy. It's like something is happening in your body, you know, and you don't need to tell them nothing. It's like this. It's automatically you connect with your strength or you connect with your vulnerability. You know, depending. Have you been in raves or
Yeah.
dancing? You know what I'm
Yeah.
talking
Woo.
about. You know that sometimes you. Obviously, there is a toxic side always, also. You know, but if you don't take care, but the origin of this ceremony of dancing, you know. Surrounded by people, everybody really fragile. It's this is to have your body as a how can I say in English
A vessel?
where you make a painting? What do you
Oh.
Like
Canvas.
a easel, like a
Easel.
yeah.
Canvas.
Yeah.
It's not a good metaphor.
Say it in
Sorry.
Espanol.
But you understand.
Say it in Spanish, and maybe one of us will understand. Like what you were trying to say.
Can we have questions?
Yeah, if people have questions for Oliver.
Are you a filmmaker?
Yeah.
Okay. I smell it. Yes, I mean, we had 35 days of shooting, 7 weeks, it's not much.
Mm.
With a lot of visual effects, it was slow, we were shooting different places, traveling, on summer, in the desert, I mean, it was tough. But, so we really had to think, to prepare how many shots of each scene, you know, and sometimes I would like to have more shots, you know, to be more covered, but it was not possible. We trust on cinema. We think that we try to be sober, you know. We try to go to the bone, you know. That was the challenge of the film, because it's a film that dialogues with genre cinema and American cinema, but we don't have your craft. I'm from Spain. We don't have a tradition of making these films. We are not good of doing that, you know. It's a kind. I mean, and we don't have one action scene here. They take 1 week.
Right.
you know, and we had like one afternoon, you know, to do, you know, this, for example, that sequence that they crossed the river was one day, and so the key was at the danger to evoke this kind of cinema, to make a film that is intense, that is stimulated, that is sexy, you know, but not forgetting that we like long shots, we are sober. For example, the explosions. In Europe, we respect the point of view more than here. You know, when we send the tracks and they explode, if it was here, you will shot that with 3 cameras, the drone, and you know, and it's good, and we like it, and I like it. I mean, Fury Road, Mad Max, these kind of movies, I mean, they're amazing, you know. But you have to assume yourself. You have to, you know, you have to take decisions that are coherent with you, with your the production facilities you have. And I think it's even more spectacular because it's more real, no? Yes. Yeah. It's bitter, this medicine, SIRÂT, but we add some honey on the edge of the glass in order that here you can drink it. Right? And it's a genre, the adventure. You know, the excitement of the suspense, and that allows you to drink the film.
Maybe we have time for one more question. Go in the back, just both rave culture and directing. A certain amount of intuition and also sort of responding to the moment. In terms of directing your actors and directing this film, does rave culture, in your own experiences, rave culture influence how you directed the film?
Rave culture is about going through your limits, like art, like spirituality. It's dying before dying. So in a way, it's the energy, the gesture is the same. And as I say, we did this film like if it was the last one. Okay, let's fail. But it's the end of our careers. No problem, we will dance. We will dance it. And if it's a fail, the film, no problem. The problem is the question, the key thing is to surrender yourself to what life wants from you. Life wants me to be nominated to the Oscars. Great. But if not, great too. If we wanted another thing, great. Life is bigger than making films or, you know, going to the desert to explode tracks. You know, can you believe it? It's quite neurotic. I mean, it's this way to ask for love. Come on.
Yeah.
There are other ways more simple than making films to ask for love. But we have to assume us. Can we have more questions? There is another film.
You're the boss. I think it's fine. I think it's fine. You're
really
the director. All the way in the back.
You mean the actors? Ah, you mean in the train? After the train? So you never know when people has this kind of when that happens to people. There are people who get broken, and there are people who get propulsed. You know, I think we feel in that train there is serenity. I don't want to interpret the scene. Everybody can feel a different thing, but these people and the people they are surrounded. These refugees. We don't know who are they, but you see also wounds in their faces. You know. But you feel acceptation. So hopefully even if if they are living one of the worst things that you can have in your life, like losing a child, hopefully it will really understand there is a lesson, there is a mercy behind, there is something to learn. You know. It's easy to say, but I can tell you that I had spectators that they had this in their life, and they understood the film, and they were identified with what we wanted to do.
Oliver, I want to thank you so much for being here. This is an incredible achievement.